Hello everyone, I'm Nanda the second and today I'm here to make a video about a race that happened a quite long time ago. Since this season, in season 13, we are starting with base Austria. I'm gonna talk about the last time we raced in base Austria, and it was on the opening round back in season 6. And so yeah, it's been quite a long time ago. It's been 7 seasons basically, or sort of 6 seasons, or yeah, 6, 7 seasons, like since the last time we raced in Austria, almost 2 years. If you think about it, it's really like a long time ago. So much long time that we were still playing in the first game back then, and so that had a lot of implications. First were the tires. There was only softs and hards, and also only wets. There were no inters or mediums. So so yeah, there was a little bit less strategy, and also yeah, we didn't have to gamble between inters and wets any longer. Just a matter of if we should bait or not when it was light rain. And so yeah, that's one of the things. Also, the cars we were using Formula A Retro, which was basically the car from the first game. There were no other options, and we could not change the cars, of course, because it was the first game still. And there were no ghosted blue flags and no penalties. So yeah, with the not ghosted blue flags, we actually have to lap the drivers, and it was a little bit stressful back then, and it required some skill to be able to do it properly, and some good timing, and know when to pass and how to pass them, and all that stuff. And so yeah, a lot of things were certainly different. Also, the skill level of the drivers certainly, like the standards, let's say, they were a little bit less. And also, we still had this thing called Class A and Class B. The Class A, as you can see here, at least on this championship table, which is from season 5, so the previous season, we got here like the top 6. Clearly they were all the Class A drivers, with Marion Fries, of course, but she only did 4 races, so that's why she's so far down. But these were basically like the Class A drivers, with Demon King in the end, like sort of rising and improving a lot, and putting himself also in that Class A pack towards the end of the season, which was a big thing actually. He did improve a lot and was looking very promising. So yeah, now looking at things from my perspective, in season 5 that was my first ever full season. As in season 4, I only appeared when there was only 3 races to go. So yeah, I only did 3 races back then. But coming to season 5, I have the target of becoming third in the championship behind Kay and Noms. But Kay didn't show up in season 5. He never raced, but he was going to come back here for season 6. And so yeah, on that championship, things were not really that easy for me, because I was very impatient. Would try to pass people in every single time, would often be very aggressive, and there were certain things about like strategy and stuff that I just didn't know that much. And also the rain as well, and traffic, and a lot of things that I have to learn during that season. That was like, there was a lot of things that I really learned a lot because of my amount of mistakes that I did that season, and I think it was a really like great experience. And in the end, I even got to win the championship as a plus or a reward for that. But yeah, the reason why I managed to win, like, this wasn't the most fairest of title wins, to be honest, because like first Noms missed 2 races. You can see right here from the amount of races that he did. He did 8 out of 10. And so he couldn't win because of that, because he was the nominated guy here. He won 4 races in a row, and yeah, during that season he was the nominating guy, especially with Kay not being present. And then so me and Gamer were left out to battle for that title. Yeah, this wasn't a time where it was very normal for me to be like third before sometimes, and other times second, and eventually I got 2 wins that season, with the first one being Le Mans, which I totally dominated that one, although Noms wasn't in that race, and also in Austria, where Noms wasn't in that race either. So there's a little bit of a coincidence, or maybe it's not really a coincidence, but yeah, while Gamer did got his wins with Noms in there in the first 2 rounds, and he was very close to a third one in Nordschleife, but then his keyboard broke, and that was also a lucky moment for me because I would have lost massive points and would be very hard to come back. But instead, I ended up gaining points because of Gamer being dropped to P4 or P5 or something like that. So yeah, and he was leading by 10 seconds, so you can see like how painful it can be. So I was lucky there, but then I have to beat him 4 times in a row. At least I can say that. And so yeah, he came down to the final round in Zandvoort. We were just separated by 1 point. I was the one leading. Yeah, I think we started both in the front row. We tied him for pole position on that race, so that's how crazy it is. But then I think coming to that tight hairpin, it was in the historic Zandvoort. Gamer leaves too much space on inside, and everyone goes for that inside line, and Gamer got absolutely killed by everyone at drop bike, while I managed to sort of run away, have a battle for the lead. First with Marion until she got screwed by the rain, and then Sobel ended up catching me in the end as I went for a stupid strategy of going for the hards, while Sobel went for softs and he pitted again on a very short pit lane, and he managed to catch me and I just didn't have a chance. So yeah, so coming to this season, my targets, even though I was already the world champion now, well, obviously wanted to get it again. But my main target for this season was to challenge Noms, to be more closer to his level and sort of give him a trouble for the title fight as well. Obviously, I would expect him to be the one winning this title in season 6, and so that was my target coming to this season, to just challenge him and be a big pain in the ass for him, I guess. And so yeah, that was my target, and I was a completely different driver this time. I had much more experience, a full season of experience, and I have learned a lot of things, and I was certainly much more capable driver coming to this season. There was also a new thing here since round 9 of season 5, which was the second game, the better version of it, where we got to use the time trial, and so yeah, we got to use that, and it was really a great thing to be able to see faster laps, and that has an impact on the competition. Because yeah, back then there used to be this, as I said, there used to be this thing called Class A and Class B. So yeah, Class A was basically like the top 7 drivers or something like that. They were mostly at the front, relatively close to each other. Of course, some were really like slower than the others. Some were faster, some were slower, but they were sort of like in the same pack. And then there used to be this sort of huge drop in pace compared to the others, like the Class B, where they always finish behind. They have no chance against Class A drivers, and a lot of times all of the Class A drivers would lap all of the Class B drivers. So it was a huge difference in like season 4, season 5, but coming to season 6, they did get closer. Like they would be like 20 seconds, like only behind 20-15 seconds. There would be someone called Laking Bamboo will sort of make little bit of a breach, like it was in between, in the middle of nowhere. So yeah, the drivers got closer because of the time trial, and I started to be defeated from it because I did also started to get better results and be more consistent there in the top 2 at least. So yeah, and coming to this season, like in the final 2 rounds of season 5, I got the win in Australia, then second place in Zandvoort, as I said before. So I was not really in a bad shape. So yeah, starting this, you can see a little bit of the teams. A little bit, we got the RCP with the Mushes and Tifoli. Tifoli, who is the owner of the team, and the ICP was a new team from season 5. Yeah, just trying to pass through the teams very quickly to not lose that many times. And then we got the British, Russo-British Racing with Vlad and Skip. Skip was my teammate back in season 5, but then he changed to this team and created it with Vlad, and they were sort of co-owners, and it was I think a good thing for Skip to go to this team, because they were much more balanced, him and Vlad, so they were a very solid team. Then VO was the junior team of FGR, and yeah, they entered in the middle of season 4. And yeah, usually it was Goose and Fox that would race for FGR, but when they created VO, they both dropped to this team and allowed other drivers like Skip and Yoha to be their main drivers in the senior team. And yeah, this season it was supposed to be Senior Papi their main driver, but he never showed up, so Fox ended up doing a lot of races. Het also did some races for VO until he then became, I think, reserve for the Russell British Racing. And then we got here Iris and Masker Reviews for a second year in Lynx Racing. They started the team in season 5 for round 2 of that season after Iris made his debut in BBZ. Then here they got LTE, which sadly ended in the first half of season 6 because they were budgets back then, and I think the teams would have to pay to have a reserve when one of their main drivers were missing, so they went bankrupt, I think, and they ended up being replaced by the Rapid Motorsport team or something like that, which it wasn't exactly the RMC, but it was almost that, because the RMC was then the mix between the team that replaced this one with the Heritage Performance, which was basically the Russell British Racing, but with a changed name. And so then they created the Rapid Motorsports Collective. So yeah, they have Twist and Jake Pratt, but this guy McQueen, I think, was kind of responsible for this team going bankrupt because he never showed up. He showed up in the last round of season 5, but he never appeared since then. Jake Pratt was making his debut this season. So yeah, then we got Black Blizzard with Opalon or Ragunatan, still called that here, and yeah, he was racing for Blue Blizzard, which became Black Blizzard because NTH and BBZ they changed cars for this season, and yeah, because Anti wanted to, because usually BBZ would race with the blue car, the Red Bull car, but Anti thought he was faster on that car, so NTH started racing with that Red Bull car while BBZ started racing with what NTH used to race with the Haas car. So yeah, then they also have Andrew, who was very laggy in the first 2 rounds of this season, if I still remember well. And I don't really understand how we allowed him to race back then. But then eventually his connection got better as he started to use an Ethernet cable. And yeah, then NTH, they have Anti, and for the first time Pemushas were not present. Because yeah, that's the thing, usually it was Anti and Pemushas for NTH as they started the team together. But then Pemushas decided to go their different ways, and Pimo went for SCP while Anti stays with his own team. And then he was driving alongside Lucky Babu, where there was some controversy later on during this season, which I'm not going to talk about it. It will be a very long story. But yeah, some people thought it was Zeki's verse. It was around where Zeki's verse made that apocalypse with the server deleting some channels and stuff, and some people were thinking that Lucky Babu was him. But yeah, whether he's him or not, we don't know. Honestly, I don't think he is, but yeah. Either way, we then got Full Force here with Noms and Mary Freeze once again. Mary Freeze did not show up for most of season 5, but she was back from the start with Noms once again. And they will be the biggest rivals of our team here, me and Demon King. Now, to have Demon King in the team, there was a lot of controversy here because Demo used to race for DBZ, and at the end of season 5, Anti wanted to give DBZ to Demo to sell the team to him, and yeah, but me and Goose, we wanted Demo in our team so we could win the WCC, which is something that I wanted to do with FGR, and with Demo would be a great teammate that would help us doing that, and so Goose have some sort of a plan, which first would be me and Demo going for BBZ in just the first season, and then Goose was still on FGR and video, and then on the next season, BBZ, I don't know who will own it. I think it would be Sin or Papi or something. It was something very weird where Goose was essentially have 3 teams, and Anti was against that. I think rightly so, to be honest. And so in the end, after a lot of VA discussions, which I wasn't part of VA back then, so I didn't take part in the discussion. But in the end, what happened was that Demo gave BBZ back to Anti, and he just went racing for FGR. So I guess it was a good ending. But yeah, so FGR have a strong team. Then we got here K coming back to LSA, at least at the beginning with Gamer once again racing for them. As Sobel was at the beginning thinking about a retirement, but he ended up joining either way since round 2. First as a reserve, emergency reserve for LTE, but then he ended up replacing K, as K left after the Quora race in Austin. And so yeah, this was a track, of course. Austria, as you might know, it's the track you guys are going to race this season. As you can see right here, we got Nemo just getting that pole position. As Goose for some reason decided to show up here, but yeah, looking at qualifying, started P4 here. This was one thing that I started to notice since time trial appeared, that other people could do like faster laps now, and I sort of struggled with that, and I would drop a little bit in qualifying, but I did start to have more race pace and be more consistent, and so yeah, I guess I gained pace, but I sacrificed a lot of qualifying pace for that or something like that. So yeah, surprisingly enough, it was Marin Fries and Pumushu starting ahead of me, but Dimo was certainly good in qualifying, and here he takes pole position, almost 1/10 up on Marin Fries, so a very strong lap there from him. And so yeah, you can see right here, you don't see Anti anywhere. That's because he had to start at the back, because in the first game with Austria in specific, there was this sort of bug where him would just get crashed out of the lobby in qualifying, but only in qualifying, and I think the same sort of happened with K. So both K and Anti had to start in the last row, so they would have an interesting race ahead of them. So yeah, you can see here we got the race start. And the way we go, everyone's starting on the softs, because the softs were way more popular at the beginning. The hards was just started to be more used more in like season 7, season 8. That's where people started to use the hards. But back then we often just use the softs a lot of the times. But yeah, you can see here at the start, I got a little bit pushed wide here with Kem and Vlad and Lucky Bamboo. Here, not really sure who was pushing me. He's really hard to see because of netcode. But then coming to the second hairpin, I go to the inside. I sort of push Ragunatan there, so I could defend myself. Because then you can see the people who are on the outside, they get absolutely killed here. See Pumusas and Marion. Nomskar, I don't know what happened to him. I think it's even in the first hairpin. Yeah, this is important because Noms would be obviously one of the candidates here, but yeah, he was already quite far down before the second hairpin, and so yeah, so I was in P5 with Timo leading the race, then Lucky Bamboo in second, but yeah, and I was behind still like Gamer and Ragunatan, but Ragunatan goes into the grass on the chicane, so I passed him there, and then there was like a big light storm that happened at the end of the first lap, which then, you can see this in slow motion. Yeah, you can see my freeze lagging a little bit, and then I just go to the inside line here to try and defend myself, because if I was on the outside, there was a risk that I would get killed there. So yeah. So yeah, then coming here, Dima was leading the race. Lucky Bamboo, I think, got screwed up in the light storm, so I was up to third. Then Gamer goes for the lead. Was for the lead of the race. As you can see right here, he goes on the inside line, not the best of overtakes, and I was just coming there. And I sort of pushed him as well along the way. But luckily they still survived there, so he could still get my slipstream. And so my target here, being up in second place, was to then catch up to Gamer, as K gets a little bit of lag, and that's the big thing here. Because if you remember, as I said already, K started from last place, and he was already there up to P4 after just the first two laps. Like, he was already up there. Like, the amazing recovery from there, it was remarkable. I think that he was showing who the GOAT was basically, and goddamn, K did have a hell of a recovery, and he was also doing an amazing job just staying behind him. But then I think the light storm screwed him up, so he got dropped back again. So you have to make a secondary recovery, which you have to do for like the entire race basically. So yeah, K here was right behind us, so he was someone to be concerned about, because yeah, he started from the last place and he was already there up to P4. But here we managed to get back to Gamer. Yeah, Dimo was with us, but sadly he didn't last it that long, because then he makes a sort of a mistake with his position when slipstreaming me, which was being on the outside when I didn't go to the outside here. As you can see, I swiped him off there by accident, and I just did that I just took that was just simply me taking the normal line to a little bit to the outside, to then be able to have more traction and be able to make the better corner there. So Demo just happened to be there, but yeah, we did not code and stuff. Like, I did not push him on my screen, of course. So yeah, I was just behind Gamer with Demo making a huge mistake here on first hairpin, which then just drops him a lot. And so this was a battle for the lead. It was me versus Gamer. Once again, what we used to see a lot in Season 5, me and Gamer battling for that title, it was sort of happening again. We see some battles there at the back, but yeah, here on lap 6 we're still just following Gamer, and I was being really patient here, because I did not want anyone else to catch back, especially K was here in P4 battling for third, and then K became the one in third here, and I just wanted to be with Gamer and just reduce the battle for the lead between us two, and there was no reason to battle him, because even if I take the lead, Gamer would still be behind me, taking the slipstream and potentially wanting to battle me as well. So I didn't want to lose time. I just want to stay there for now, just be patient, just taking my time. That was it for the first stint, and then I would think about the strategy and what I would do. And so yeah, that was it. My plan was to basically do something different from Gamer, essentially. Yeah, we can skip this a little bit. We are here in lap 10, lapping Andres already, sadly. Although luckily we didn't got pushed by him, because yeah, Andres was really laggy. This was in the time where we didn't do CCs back then. But we didn't know that Andres would be laggy, that's the thing. And I don't know how did FIA allowed him to race. You can see he almost goes for the inside. Like, that's really scary. Like, he's just here going straight. Could have almost pushed me there. But in the end, I think he got pushed by the leg. So yeah, just staying behind Gamer. Gamer goes for the pits on lap 11, and I go to the pits on lap 12, because I wanted to do something different from Gamer, and I didn't want to make undercuts because I didn't like making them. It was simply because of that. I did not like to make undercuts, so I just wanted to do something different. I didn't want to just be with Gamer and just continue the same situation. I wanted to then instead just go one lap longer, having better tires, catch back to Gamer, and with better tires have an easier job passing him. So yeah, that was my plan, but as you can see, 12 laps was a little bit too long already. With these cars you can go a little bit longer than I think you can go with these new Formula Sports cars. But yeah, 11 was certainly the limit, 12 was already too much, and because of that, Gamer got another cut of 2 seconds, so I have to catch him back again. But yeah, but as soon as I could do it, so I would be able to have an advantage. That was the thing. So, but yeah, that was basically the situation. But still, it took me a lot of time, because it was 2 seconds to catch him back, and then there was one thing that didn't help me do that, catching him back, which was the rain. I think it's on lap 19 that gets announced. see some replays here with Ragunatan and Vlad. They used to battle a lot here. Yeah, usually you have the Class A drivers, and it was like Imambu being like a semi-Class A, then Ragunatan and Vlad would be sort of the next drivers. Usually Ragunatan though, and then Vlad oftentimes. But yeah, at the beginning of the races they were still like battle each other and stuff, because they were sort of close on pace. But yeah, here you can see Gamer trying to get past Goose as Jake Brad just gets completely killed there. So yeah, as you can see here, the rain gets announced, and that didn't help me, because now my tire advantage would be completely gone. Still, we did manage to gain a few tenths, but nothing much, not even a second, so that was a problem. Still, I guess the good thing is that we still have better pace than Gamer on the rain, so we could capitalize on that. But as you can see, I think I punted Goose in the pit box. Not sure if it was to help him out a bit, or if it just happened, or I just didn't have anywhere to go. So I may have lost a little bit of time because of that. And so yeah, Gamer was still in the lead of the race, and I still have to catch him back. So I was paying the price for trying to do something different and for going too long on the first team because of that. So yeah, it was a mistake that I think I did back then, and if it was today I would very likely just do like 10 laps or just stay behind Gamer. Maybe could try and opt for the hards, but I'm not sure if it would have worked. You will see that I'm gonna try that later on, but either way, right now the mission was simple, was to focus on my pace and trying to catch back to Gamer. And that gap was certainly reducing. Like right here you can see how it's just 1.3 seconds. It used to be much more, like more than 2 seconds. So I did gain, I was certainly gaining on him. So that was a good thing. I was showing that I had the pace in the rain. Although Gamer here does seem to have some troubles passing Andres, but then Andres finally lets him pass. And so yeah, in here we got Demon Noms battling for P4. As Noms, after a very tough start, he finally managed to be up there in his first few positions. Anti, who had also a tough start, was already up to P8, so that was great for him. He was already ahead of all of these Class B drivers. It's kind of like when Toyota in the WEC series in Spa, they started last, right behind the GT cars and the LMP2 cars, so. And they also have to pass the drivers, so that was what Henty had to do here as well. It was sort of something like that. But yeah, here there are some battles in the Class B. Jarvis versus Goose, Demo versus Noms. And they still have to catch back to Gamer. Gamer had already pitted here, he pits on lap 27, and I pit on lap 28. And I believe that still gives Gamer some undercut again. And here I'm exiting the pit side by side with Maska, but Maska was a very cool guy and he broke, so he just let me pass there. It was really nice from him, and yeah, that's why Maska is a legend. He was actually very professional with the blue flags. He had a lot of experience with it, of course, as he usually was one of the back markers. Basically, usually he would be the one guy to beat Fox. And that was it. Although here we got Andres put himself on the mix at the back, mostly because of that lag. Because his pace wasn't that bad either, but you can see how much of a problem he was. And there was no ghosted blue flags, and yeah, I can see big of a problem. Oh my god, it's very painful to see that. But then eventually people will get around him, but sometimes he would cause problems. He caused more problems was in the next race in the United States because of the pits. He actually pushed me to the pits on that race, which was very frustrating, but in the end I still managed to win because Noms also had these problems with bike markers, which then allowed me to catch him back with pair of tires. But yeah, the way going to this race, once again, oh my god, yeah, big crash here with Vlad and Jake. Yeah, that was a really big one, Jesus Christ. I believe in season 4 when they also race in this track, which I didn't race back then because I haven't joined the grid yet. I think Mario and Sobel have something similar there. If I'm not wrong, they have a big crash into that first turn. And so yeah, got here trying to pass Vlad, and I think Gamer makes a huge mistake here into the first hairpin. He hits the wall, which then allows me to get him back, because here you can see Vlad gets the slipstream, and I get the slipstream as well. And yeah, I get past Vlad, and now the battle for the win was on. As this time I didn't want to slipstream, I wanted to go for that lead. As you can see, I dive on inside, and then Vlad managed to get past both of us. If that was for position, it would be really cool, but yeah, then we have to pass him again. Right here, not sure if he lets us pass. I go for the inside. That is should always go. Not go for the outside if you have to lap someone. That's oftentimes a bad idea. So yeah, I can see right here. I get past Vlad. The camera still behind me. So the big battle was on for that win. This K was now 4 seconds behind. I don't think K really had the big pace as he used to have before to get the win. So yeah, that was it. So yeah, the battle at the front continued. I think I was at this point almost out of Gamer's slipstream. I think I was actually already out here, but then I think I had some problems lapping Fox. As you can see, his Fox pushes me too late. I think he saw me on the outside, so he's going for the inside to let me pass. But then, like, the timing wasn't the best, because then I went to the inside, and so Fox just went too late because of the net code, and he pushed me off, which then allowed Gamer to take the lead once again. As you can see, I think a big lag rocket here, and Goose going off. And then Goose has this problem here where his controller, I think something is wrong, and he just starts spinning. There's something wrong with his controller till it stops. And yeah, luckily he just managed to return to the track. But yeah, that was a big moment in the race. Luckily I managed to avoid him, so no big problem. This was around the time where Gamer pitted again on lap 38, and I would pit again on lap 39. And so Gamer once again had another cut on me, but luckily, once again you can see Fox causing problems to his teammates. Like, luckily the gap was smaller, but then this crash right here, Ragunathan hits the wall, and so I get blocked, and that costs me time. And so yeah, it was a problem, but I still have better tires than Gamer, so yeah, I should still be able to get him back. So yeah, once again I allowed Gamer to undercut me because I wanted to do something different. Bit decisive, as you can see now the problem with blue flags here. Now I'm just going for the inside. Vlad didn't realize it and ended up pushing him because of that. So yeah, this was also a big problem that drivers have to deal with. It's here, Timo gets absolutely punted into the gravel by K. Because K was hella pingy, as of course he's from Brazil, so you know it's not European here, and he's also causing some issues. And so yeah, you can see the distance between me and Gamer starts reducing again. But actually it was still a little bit big there, 1.6 seconds. And so yeah, it was a problem, but yeah, once again I have to catch him back. There is nothing else I could have done. And so yeah, once again another recovery that I have to make. Now with better tires, once again it wasn't like in a wet where we had the same tires. And lucky we did not race again, rain again, before I could catch him. So, but yeah. Let's see, just skip this little bit till the moment when I should catch Gamer again. I think it's right here around when he's lapping a wrist. But I think he makes a mistake. I believe he hits the wall there. He hits, yeah, a little bit. He's a little bit slower. But I certainly did gain on that second hairpin. Then Gamer having some troubles passing a wrist. Those were not easy soft corners to pass lap drivers. But yeah, Gamer goes for the inside line. Not sure if Reese is really letting him pass there, but yeah, you can see Gamer goes wide, and then I just catch back to him. So there we go. Once again, that battle for the lead was won. Obviously here I just waited. Not sure if I go for the dive on the inside that line, and I sort of go. And yeah, I think not sure if Gamer got pushed there. It was a little bit laggy and he didn't seem to have lost so much time, but yeah. Either way, I got past Gamer once again. So that battle once again was on, but as you can see it wasn't over because he still had my slipstream, and that was the thing, that was the reason why I didn't try to pass Gamer at the beginning. so we wouldn't lose that much time with battling at the start. And yeah, this time Gamer goes to the pits on lap 49, and I go with him because this time I did not want it to allow him to undercut me. It would be exactly the same as the previous pit stop, so once again I will have to catch him back. And so this time around, to do something different still, what I decided to do was to go with hearts and go to the end. So this time I just have to slipstream him, but then he makes this mistake, so I go for the move, and then the rain comes in. And so yeah, this is the biggest things about this race, very crucial moments, because if it didn't rain, I'm not sure if my strategy would have worked, because I would be doing 17 laps to the end of the race, and Gamer would have to pit again, and so he would be doing still short stints, so we don't know like if that extra pit stop would be too much and if he'll have enough time to catch me. But maybe it could have been possible, because pit stops are not that, they are not that big. But these cars were faster, so catching someone on 17 laps with these cars is not the same as it is with Formula Sports. But I think on these new cars with Formula Sports 2, it would be possible, I think, for a Gamer to catch me back. But yeah, it doesn't matter in the end. With the rain, I want to see if I can go back here, because you can see I took the lead as Gamer makes this mistake. And then when the rain got announced, I was leading to let him pass, but when the rain got announced, I decided to battle for the lead, because of course we would be on the same tires on the next lap. So yeah, slipstreaming him no longer matter for me, so I have to go to fight for that position. And here, Demon Nomsy, the understeer here, they lost all of the grip in the middle of the corner. That's one of the big obstacles in this game, where when the rain gets announced and when it suddenly appears in the middle of the corner, it's very likely like you just get caught up by surprise, and so people just go completely wide. But either way, here I was leading the way. This time I managed to get away. I don't remember how I did it, but then I have some problems here with Anti, as I tried to get past him in the final two corners, but I don't think Anti wanted to let me pass there, and pushed me a little bit on the inside. But then he finally lets me pass. There was a little bit of lag here, at least on the spec recording. That's also one thing I forgot to talk about, because usually it would be Goose making these videos, but he would make it with people's POVs, so he could see like some parts of this video, see some recordings from Vlad and Iris, for example, and Goose as well. But for this race he had heads using the spec mode, recording the race that way. But that was something unique for this race. It's something that ends up not happening until the end of the season, and then only in season 7 we would see Skip doing that in Zandvoort, and then it's in season 8 where we decided to go from 10 teams to only 9, to have then 2 extra slots for spectators. And so yeah, that was it. That's why nowadays we only have 18 drivers, because back then we used to have 20 drivers in season 6 and season 7, because before we didn't have that much attendance. Even here you can see only 18 drivers racing. So yeah, but those lobbies were starting to fill, the grid was starting to get bigger. But either way, focus on the race. I believe Gamer is very close to catch back to us. I think that was possible because I make this mistake. Like before it was some problems with Anti, and then I make this mistake which then allowed Gamer to catch back. So once again Gamer was on slipstream. That battle for the lead was not over yet. And once again, after being away from Gamer, he managed to get back, and so the battle continues once again. So yeah, as Noms and Demo still battling for that P4 with K in third. K was in third for a lot of the time, but then something happens to him in the end. So yeah, either way, me and Gamer is still battling. The Gamer goes for the inside line. You can see here, I go a little bit defensive, but I tried to give him the space, but in there I just defended too late. At least it wasn't the worst of pushes, because Gamer was still on the slipstream at least. So yeah, the battle goes on. Gamer tried to find a way past. It's not the easiest of tracks to go for an overtake. as he touches the grass twice. Yeah, and then not sure if it's here as Gamer goes for the sideline. And we are going side by side here. Then I went back off there because I did not want to go to the outside on the second hairpin, as there would be a risk of Gamer pushing me off. Because it's a very tight corner, it would be easy. Gamer would probably try to use all of the space there, so yeah, I decided to back off so I wouldn't risk getting pushed. And so I have to concede position, but then here there's a big moment of the race. As I go a little bit to the inside, and then you have a leg rocket to the wall. And so, yeah, things continue. But I got the lead of the race. And here, Gamer gets sort of blocked by Jake. But luckily, he still managed to keep the slipstream, because Jake also kept my slipstream. So, very crucial there, especially for Gamer. Because I know I was a little bit faster than him in pace. But some of my decisions and stuff with the rain, we were still battling here because of that. And then you can see here on the inside, push Gamer a little bit. And I also make the mistake, so Gamer still staying behind me. So yeah, with now 10 laps to go, Gamer just trying to find a way past. Once again, not an easy track for overtaking. And then I'm not sure if it's here that the big moment happens. No, it's not yet. Because yeah, here it's just only 7 laps to go. I go defensive here to not allow Gamer to go for the inside, but maybe it was a little bit aggressive defending. But the Gamer is still on the slipstream. And I think it might be on this lap where it all happens, and he had to lap Andres once again. But yeah, here is the big mistake here from Gamer. And then another mistake, I think, on that next corner. As you can see, Gamer loses all of that momentum. And then I think a little mistake on the grass. And all of that allows me to get away from him. As in the meantime, Mary Freeze was running in P6. She crashes out of the lobby with lag. And so, yeah, Mary Freeze was out on the first race, which she wasn't happy. Still, I have a big moment here with Pemushes when leaving the pits. As Pemushes was still on the wet tires. As you can see, Gamer was almost close to get my slipstream, but then luckily I managed to get rid of Pimo, and Pimo slows down Gamer again. You can see right here. So Pimo sort of balanced things out by slowing me down a little bit and by slowing Gamer down. And I think I even ended up getting a little bit more than Gamer, so yeah, I have almost 2-second lead here. And so yeah, that was it. Now the mission was to the target was to basically bring it home now and not allow Gamer to get back. As you can see here, Goose being a victim of Andrew's lag. And I think Marini being in the lobby still was a problem as well. But it's funny how she already left a few laps ago, but she was still in P15 here. Like the others haven't still managed to catch her back. That's how far back they would be. Like sometimes, especially in the Class B, there used to be these huge gaps between them. As you can see, like the difference, like at the front, like me 1 second ahead, then Numscan, Demo, and here Lucky Bamboo, who was still semi Class A, he was already 11 seconds behind. And I think Pimo and Anti, they have a lot of problems at the start and all of that stuff, and they were sort of recovering. That's why they were not that ahead of like Vlad, for example, here with 4 seconds behind. But then you can see right here, like these two were close to each other. Skip was already 5 seconds behind. And then you can see like 13 seconds, 16 seconds, they were sort of battling here. And then the rest, like they were just too far behind. Bigger gaps you can see here. But either way, it's just 2 laps to go. My free is not being happy with being crashed out of the lobby. But yeah, now we just have to do this just to bring it home. But Gamer was still very close, and so if something happened, Gamer would be able to get it back. So it was not over yet. But then, yeah, you can see here Kay having a problem here with Andres. Gets pushed wide. I don't know why he was P4, because he used to be third, but then he got down to P4, and then with that he got down to P5. So Kay was having big issues. And then here at the front, Gamer makes that huge mistake once again in turn 1, or the first hairpin, and crashes into the wall, and they lose a lot of time. So with that, the win was decided, and I took it for the third time in my career. I got the win in Sunday League, and that was a big moment for me, very important, as I started the season in the best of ways, with a very fun battle with Gamer, not gonna lie. I remember having a lot of fun in this race, and Gamer also was happy with this race as well. He was, it was a big battle between us two there, and so yeah, as you can see here the results. Got the win. Not sure if I got the fastest lap. No, it looks like I didn't. It was Nemo, but either way, I got first. Gamer gets second. Noms ends up being third after the huge problems that he had at the start. Demo, after the huge mistakes that he did at the start, after being first, he ends up being P4. He wasn't the most experienced driver yet, but he was there. He was a very promising driver. Then Kai having some problems. I think the results were certainly not totally right, because he was not this far behind. That's the thing. And then Lucky Babu with a good result here, P6 ahead of P1 Anti, who had a lot of troubles in this race. But still, you can see like in the last stint they were like Raghunathan was just 3 seconds behind, but then you can see like the gap extended to 7 seconds in the end. And I think Vlad was trying to beat Raghunathan and was almost able to do it. In the end, Raghunathan had the superior pace and managed to get P9 on that race. And yeah, that was it. And so yeah, this was a race. It was a very important race to me, because after this race I took 3 more wins, so I got my first 4-win streak here, and it was a big moment for me because I was pretty much dominating at the start of the season, and that was a very like a new thing for me. It was really like something that changed me as well, my mentality as well, and I would always want to go for those wins and become much more of a front runner. Even though I was already at the front, I wasn't really a guy that would like go for the wins. Like the wins were still like kind of rare for me, and but now I would always want to go for the win after that race, and it changed me a lot. And so I ended up becoming what I became today. So yeah, that was certainly a big moment, and yeah, I ended up starting lead of the championship. As you can see right here, FGR also started by leading the standings. As Demo got before, then also Marine 3 is crashing out of the lobby, caused some problems here to Full Force. And then LSA with Gamer being second place. At K in P5 they were second place here in the standings, so it was a good start to the season. And so yeah, it was a very interesting season for me, season 6. Then on the second half of the season, Noms ended up practicing a little bit more, and it actually starts to come back on my championship lead. I had quite a huge one, but then I lose half of it in Monaco, where I only took P5 because of a lot of problems that I have in that race, including a lag rocket that pushed me to the pits, and it was a very stressful race back then as well. But yeah, but after that I would often take second place. There was one race in Japan when I have a major recovery right after Monaco, where I managed to recover a lot in Suzuka after me and Noms get screwed up by the rain, and then Sobel and Marine Freeze were quite far ahead. Marine Freeze was 11 seconds ahead of me, but I managed to get her in the end on the last lap with a great strategy. I saved one pit stop compared to Namskar, who didn't get third on that race. And so yeah, then Noms takes the wins in Hockenheim and Malaysia. I was second in those races. Then Noms eventually misses the race in Spain, which then allows me to solidify the championship with the win on that race. And it was so that gave me the second title. And once again, it was not the biggest ways to get the title as well, because Noms was almost able to make a huge recovery. If he had won the race in Spain, I would not be able to get the title. It would have been very close, but yeah, it was a big thing there back then. But yeah, luckily I managed that second title, and I was a 2 times world champion, just like that. with a little bit of luck. But this season, I was certainly much more convincing than the last one. I was certainly much more of a bigger challenger, and I improved a lot back then. And so yeah, that was it. I hope you guys like this review and have a little bit of history as well. And so yeah, I hope you guys like this. And now, what can I say? I guess good luck for tomorrow's race in Austria, and see you.